Hi, ladies. Welcome to this week's live call. I hope you're all having a great week so far. And yeah, today is all about mindset and building mental strength as you build physical strength. I do talk about mindset a lot, and this is one that I just think obviously it's very important to, as we are progressing in strength physically, we're also progressing mentally as well. So yeah, these are very closely linked together. So whether your goal is fat loss, building strength, having more confidence, or just feeling like yourself, yeah, we're going to talk about how to build mental strength in the same way you would physical strength. Because we all know it's never really solely about just the plan. So yeah, so basically, I just want to go into connecting the dots between what's happening in your body and what's happening in your mind. Because, again, like I say, um, the mind really dictates your actions in everything that you do. And whether that's in the gym or the kitchen, you're literally training your mental muscle all the time. It's going to be quite a quick presentation, so this shouldn't take too long. But what I would say, if you want to pause this and just grab a notebook or a piece of paper and a pen, there are a couple of very light exercises in here that you can just work along to and pause as and when you need to. So, strength has parallels. We've got the body and mind coinciding together, and resistance builds strength. And that's not just in body, but also in mind. So, when things happen in life, we build through that resistance, whether that's, physically like a heavy barbell or a difficult week, something happening in our lives. There's always that opportunity within resistance to build and strengthen ourselves. So, if you avoid resistance, then you tend to stay weak or weaker than you could potentially be. But if you face it, then and you're patient as well with it, and then you grow. And that's what we want. And I'm sure you've all been through, things in life where you've mentally gone through something and you've come out stronger on the other side. And what I found through just physically strength training, it does something to my brain to just make me kind of just get through things in life mentally a lot easier as well. You're more kind of just confident and self-assured. And yeah, it definitely equates for a building character and a happier life altogether. So yeah, we train our body and mind in similar ways, and yeah, it does require patience and also recovery. So I know within all your plans, you've got recovery days. For the most part, I know some people's recovery days look more like cardio, but you're recovering, you're not working your muscles every single day. You're giving yourself that time. So, here's some food for thought. So, this is where you could get your pen and paper out. So, I want to ask you the question, where are you feeling resistance in your life right now? And could that be helping you grow stronger? Or if you've approached it differently? Okay, so think about your approach towards this difficult time or moment. And, if you don't feel like you're dealing with it in the best way possible, then how could you approach it differently? So you can pause this. You might not need to do this one. You might not be going through a difficult time at all. But yeah, that was just a food for thought for you. Okay, so as mentioned, resistance equals growth. So this graph showing growth, which increases with moderate challenge or larger challenges, and it tends to drop with burnout. So burnout doesn't really help us here with growth. It tends to kind of deplete us. If anything, kind of just brings us down. So really be aware if you are really stressed or you're feeling burnt out, just let me know and take a bit of time out. And you'll just take the time to rest, recuperate, and understand why you're feeling burnt out so you can make the changes because that's not going to help. But with resistance, in the right amounts, that does equal adaptation in the body and the mind. So the goal isn't to avoid challenge, it's to find that sweet spot where you're stretched out, but not snapping. Okay, so that's where the growth happens, both mentally and physically. So let's talk about emotional regulation and training our reactions to things because our reactions are very important. It's how we react to people, to the world, to situations that are out of our control. Emotional regulation is your ability to respond rather than react. So these mental reps are those moments where you pause before acting out of habit and like emotional eating, you might, basically, if you don't pause, it could cause you to emotional eat. It could cause you to skip a workout or give up on something or just spiral after having a bad day. So, yeah, this is like a rep, like repetition, just like in the gym again. So, really just working on this muscle of reaction. So, again, an example here is if you catch yourself in the moment between the thought and the reaction, that's like adding one rep to your emotional strength set. And the more we do this, the better we get at emotional regulation. You might be really great at it right now, or you might just need a bit of a nudge towards becoming more aware of how you are reacting to things in life. So yeah, training your reaction is very important. And this is like a little kind of a powerful practical framework that you can use for emotional regulation here. So I like to say to people, if something's happening in your life, just pause, take a breath, notice the emotion or the urge inside you, and then label that, name what you're actually feeling. It might be, I failed, I feel like a failure. Um, but instead of, these negative labels that we put on ourselves, we need to flip it. So for instance, if you say to yourself, um, I'm tired instead of I'm lazy, then that's a better label that we can self-associate. So, rather than saying, "Oh, I'm like this," you can say, "Well, I'm actually just like this because I feel like I'm lazy or whatever it is." I hope that point's coming across. So yeah, label what you're actually feeling, rather than kind of how you want to label yourself in a negative way. And then you get to choose. So you decide what serves your goals, not your momentary moods, because we all know when we're in a certain mood, like things can just fly off the rails. So that's why I say breathe, label what's really going on, and pick an action that aligns with your long-term goals, not your short-term emotion. And this is the key here, because that action over time, they compound and they're really a make or break as to whether you reach those long-term goals or not. So yeah, you can again get your pen and paper out here if this helps you. So the prompt is to think of a moment this week or maybe last week where you reacted automatically and how could you apply this, pause, label, and choose next time to that situation. And just ask yourself, could I have done it differently or was it actually all right? Because you may have been absolutely fine. Right, so this is quite a good slide. I quite enjoyed putting this one together, hard versus harmful. So, really, the key message here is just learning the difference between discomfort that builds you and stress that breaks you. So, the hard and the harmful. So, hard could be, as on screen, pushing through a tough workout, having a tough conversation could be challenging, uncomfortable, but it helps you grow ultimately. And harmful is training whilst injured, ignoring your mental health. It could also be, when you're feeling drained, You feel like you're punishing yourself, and you're crossing your own boundaries. So just try and be aware of what's hard versus harmful. It's a big part of mental strength, which is knowing when to push and when to pull back, because life happens and it can't all just be push, 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 go, go, go. Sometimes we do just need to take a step back and, breathe, like I said before. So, for an example here, if you're tired, but you just don't feel like you're going, like you want to go to the gym, that's hard. You're going to push through that tiredness and you can push through it as long as you're not absolutely exhausted and you could cause risk of injury or harm to yourself. However, if you're in pain, you're ill or emotionally burnt out, that could be harmful for you to push yourself and go to the gym. That's different. So just be aware of the difference here. So, what's one area in your health journey where you might be confusing hard with harmful? You may not be confusing hard with harmful, but again, it's just a little awareness exercise of where you could be kind of mixing things up. And, a lot of the time we could be quite hard on ourselves and we feel like we have to push through, especially when we are feeling burnt out or stressed or exhausted. But sometimes we just need to have a bit of self-compassion, a bit of self-love, and actually just have a rest. And please, if anyone ever feels like this, just reach out, let me know, and I'll help you through it. So, moving on to the mindset loop, we've got thoughts, feelings, actions, results, and reinforced beliefs here. So, everything starts with your thoughts and loops back to your results ultimately. So, an example might be, let's say you think I'm not consistent, and that thought makes you feel defeated, and you skip a workout, and you reinforce that belief that you're not consistent. And that's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy there. But now imagine that you shift that to, I'm learning to be more consistent, and that thought automatically feels lighter. And you take one small action and you build the evidence that you are becoming more consistent and your identity shifts. So this is quite a good one, just to like a good example, because this does pop up quite a lot for women who are trying to make these changes. So it really just is about reinforcing that belief because, like I say, everything starts with a thought. So if you think I always fall off, and that does create a feeling of defeat and it leads to inaction and reinforces that same belief. So just shift that thought even slightly to something like I've fallen off before, but I always come back. And you can change that whole cycle in your mindset and how you see yourself as well. So I've got another mini exercise. You can choose to do it if this helps you. So you can write down one unhelpful thought that you catch yourself repeating and then reframe it into a new one that feels empowering but still believable. Okay, so I'll give you one example. Like I mentioned before in an example, I always fall off track, but instead you can say I've fallen off before, but I always come back. And it's happened to me before. I've fallen off track many a time over ugh, 15 odd years, I've been training now. And yeah, I always come back, always. And that's my new identity. If I do just have an off week, I know that I'm going to get back on it again because I know that's when I feel my ultimate best. And, it might even be a month or two later. I might not be training for, I don't tend to do it so much these days, but, the last 10 years or so, I've done that quite a few times. And yeah, just re reinforcing those beliefs within me that I've got it in me to just keep coming back, having that bounce back within my mindset. That's been a real game changer for me. So let's tie this all together. So strength in all forms. As you can see on the screen, I've written strength isn't just what you lift, it's what you carry, face, and overcome. So every rep, every choice, every time you get back up, that is strength. And that same grit that helps you finish your last set is what helps you show up in life when you don't feel like it. So, mental and physical strength, they're not separate, they feed one another. So, whether you're recovering from an injury or you're working on fat loss or getting stronger, the mindset principles are always the same: resistance, patience, recovery, belief. You are training your body and your character here. This is really just character building. And, you know, I don't want you just to think about this in the short term, doing it for 3 months or 6 months or even 12 months. Like, if you were to do that and then stop, then it's not like you're doing all this for nothing, but you want to continue this further into your life and make it a recurring practice for you. So yeah, I just really want to encourage you to go forth with this mindset, because we all know that, muscles are there to be worked. You if you lose it, if you don't use it, you lose it. So yeah, this is a very long-term way of thinking. So yeah, I just want to encourage a little bit of reflection here, and ask you, how is your body teaching you to be mentally strong right now? It could be you hate push-ups and you're pushing through and you're getting to that sixth or seventh rep and you're thinking, oh gosh, I can't get through it, but your mind is there. It's in the zone and it's telling you, right, I need to get to my 10th or 12th rep. And that's your body teaching you to be mentally strong in that moment. So I'm going to wrap this up now. So obviously there's no one on this call, so we're not going to have a discussion. But I just want to mention the key takeaways here. So just to remind you, really, resistance builds strength. Train your reactions and regulate them. Regulate those emotions within you that come up. Know your limits as well. Notice what's hard and harmful. Watch your thoughts and remember that growth equals reps, not perfection. Okay, so you don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to keep showing up. So, yeah, just remember that. Keep showing up, do what you can, and be aware of anything harmful that's coming your way or within you. So yeah, this week, really, I want you to treat every mental challenge as a strength workout. So when things feel heavy, just remind yourself you're getting stronger and just know that this is all for the greater good as well. Because sometimes it's quite easy just to fall victim to these situations, but actually, like, you're strong women and you're building that character and you're building that mental muscle as well. So remember that, remember who you are within every situation that comes your way. And even if it's something you can't control, at least you can control the way you react to things, okay? And more often than not, working out will just make you feel 10 times better and you get that endorphin release. I'm sure, the runners in the group always know that you get the runner's high and you definitely get the same feeling from a strength workout as well. So, yeah, hopefully this has helped. I was going to lead on to questions, but yeah, we're not going to do questions tonight. So, if you do have any questions after watching this, please feel free to either, you know, message in the group or message me privately. And yeah, and I'll be happy to answer any. So I hope this has been useful and thank you for watching.